Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. Short PSA before we begin, today's video has two stories and both of them have updates. So now let's get started with the first one. This post is from the subreddit Relationship Advice and it's by user Unwanted Child 0. Mother 44 female wants to meet me 24 male after 8 years. I don't know what to do. English is not my first language, so please bear with me. So, she was dating my father when he got her pregnant and left her after she told him she was pregnant. I don't remember much about all of that, of course, but my grandparents raised me and she would visit once a week. She would take me shopping, get me chocolates, etc. My grandparents died when I was 6, so my mom took me in. She was married by then. I never knew she was married and had a baby, but I didn't think too much of it. Growing up, I was neglected. All her love and care was for my half-sisters. Her husband abused me emotionally and physically. He would yell at me for little mistakes like if some water fell out of my cup when I took it or woke up late, etc. My mother was a bystander and sometimes she would also participate. She would always tell me about how my father left her when she needed him most and how I almost ruined her life. This was all in front of her husband, and lastly, he would kiss her and tell me how he saved her. Well, I was just a 12-year-old boy at the time. I got hurt and jealous every day by seeing them treat their daughters with love and affection. I never expected her husband to be my father, but she is my mother. How could she be so cruel to me, her own child? She always guilt-tripped me by saying she was the one who was feeding me and giving me shelter to live. I was a bright student in school and still am, but she never got happy with my progress. I thought if I study hard, she will love me because I love her very dearly. But I realized too late that no matter what I did, she will always show me where I stand. So when I was 16, I got in touch with one of my father's sisters through one of my mother's childhood friends. She knew how my mom treated me and she wanted to help me, I guess. We hung out a lot until she finally asks me how I was doing living with my mom. I just broke down and told her everything. She said she knew and that's why she wants to help me and asked me if I wanted to live with her and I said yes. 1 month passed after she asked and I was ready to move in with her. Anyway, when I got home that day, my mom was in the kitchen. I asked her to come upstairs when she was done. She comes up after some time and the conversation goes like this. She says, "What do you want now?" "Can I ask you something, Mom? Do you love me?" "Of course I do." "Then why didn't you ever stop your husband when he abused me?" She tried to say something, but I cut her off. "Let me finish, Mom. You hate me, don't you? That's why you let him abuse me for years. You never showed me any affection, but you love your daughters. You attend their parents' meetings, but you never showed up at my school. You even sent me to another school. That's how much you love me. I just want to know why you never loved me. Did I do something wrong? Tell me." She tried to defend herself, saying something like, "How could I hate you? You're my son." To which I replied, "Then why did you hurt me so much? I can't show you how much it hurts whenever you choose your husband over me. It feels like my heart will stop beating. I loved you. Every single time you chose to hurt me, I would tell myself that one day you will love me. But I now realize that it's my fantasy that is now coming to an end." She then defended her husband, saying that he cared about me. Of course, I interrupt this spiel and say, "Look, you are choosing him again, Mom. I have always chosen to love you, even though I would always get hurt by you in return. But this time, I choose not to get hurt anymore. I know you don't give a damn about me. That's why I'm moving in with my aunt. She knows her. And I expect you to at least respect my decision and let me go to live my life." She was just standing there and didn't say a word after I told her I'm moving in with my aunt. Then, the next day, I move out when my mother and her husband were at work. I didn't even say bye to my half-sisters. We moved to another state and I cut off my mom and her entire family. That was 8 years ago. I have never heard anything from them in these 8 years. I still live with my aunt and her husband and her daughter. They are nice and kind people. Also, now I have a job and I'm on the way to becoming a software engineer, so I can say I'm doing good. Then, yesterday, I get a voicemail from my mother saying she wants to meet me and to please talk to me. She was crying. I haven't responded yet. Should I call her or should I just block her? I can't decide. any advice is appropriate. Well, OP, in my opinion, that woman is not your mom. She gave birth to you, dropped you on your grandparents, and then when you had to go live with her, she kept telling you for around 10 years about how you almost ruined her life and all that crap that she said to you. And her husband too. F them both. Also, OP, you have a mom and a dad. You call them aunt and uncle, but they are the ones that have taken care of you, that have loved you for the past 8 years. So OP, I honestly don't see any kind of reason as to why you would want to meet her at all. Now, if for some reason you want to forgive her or anything like that and want to actually meet her, then at least make her work for it, and since you're so far away from her, make her come to you. This is not a conversation you're supposed to have on the phone. This is a face-to-face kind of conversation. And in that conversation, she would not only have to apologize, but also gain your trust. Do you think she can do that? I'm not so sure, OP. You definitely have a big scar that she left you, but you might want to work through that without having to see her. And what do you guys think about this whole situation? What would you do if you were in OP's shoes? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Department Typical 945 says, like some of the comments I read, I agree with what seems to be the popular opinion. She wants something from you, and it's not a chance to get reacquainted. If you can handle it, by that I mean a ton of tears from her, some begging, a whole lot of how she's been wronged in some way, and finally she tells you that she needs you, you might feel some obligation to call her because she is your mother after all. Don't call for that reason. She barely meets the requirements for the mother moniker. She did the barest minimum. I might call out of curiosity alone, but you don't call her. You don't owe her a thing, and she's had no use for you your entire life. You have a real mom now, a real dad. You seem like a nice young guy who got dealt a rotten hand and not only survived, but was given a chance to thrive. The fact that you're even asking this question tells me you do feel some obligation, some love. And I got a feeling that if you call, you will fall for at least some of her bull and she'll hook you. Here's what I would do. Write her a short letter telling her you got her message, that you wish her the best, but that not only do you not want to call her, but that you don't want any relationship with her or the rest of her family. Not at all. Sign it, mail it, get on with your life, and hope like hell you will never hear from any of them again. But I have a bad feeling about that. Not Epiphany says, don't meet with her. If it will bother you not to hear what she's got to say, you can call her and let her say her piece on the phone. If she can't give you an answer to, why are you contacting me now after 8 years, that satisfy you, you can just hang up and block her number. If a call goes well, whatever that means for you, you can consider a brief in-person meeting at a coffee shop or something later. If you decide you are not interested in what she has to say, text her a simple, not interested, thanks, and block her number. That choice is just as valid as hearing her out. Do not give her money. Do not give her a place to stay. Do not agree to be tested as an organ donor. Is your aunt still in contact with your mother's childhood friend? If so, can you ask her if she's heard anything about your mother's situation? And OP responds, yes, my aunt is still in contact with her friend. I didn't tell my aunt about my mom's voicemail because I don't want to bother her. Ladybug81 says, in the end, it's going to be up to you to decide what you need for closure here. Whether it's to ignore her and move on with the life she doesn't deserve to be a part of, or to see her through adult eyes for the sad, broken person she is and let that put to rest any residual guilt you may have from being a confused child with a terrible mother. You don't owe her anything. This should be about what will be best for you. I would be on guard against this being some kind of play for money. Maybe someone is sick, maybe her husband left her, etc. Or maybe your half-siblings cut her out of their lives and now she's trying to get at least one child back. Don't let her guilt you into anything and don't give her anything. She made her bed and now she can lie in it. Additional information from OP's comments. My mother is the most selfish person I've ever known. But part of me feels like she's truly sorry. I can't help but feel this way. I know she doesn't love me and it still hurts. And I won't be surprised if she needs money from me or something else. And there's no way I would give her an organ. I don't care if she dies without one. As I said, I know how selfish she is. However, part of me wants to meet her, to tell her about my achievements. You know, you can't completely hate your mom. And another reason is, I never got my answer. Why did she let her husband abuse me? Why she never stood up for me? I want an answer. Now, some of you were asking about my father and why he left. Well, she was cheating on him, then he died in a car accident when I was 3. Anyway, someone suggested I ask her to write a letter with what she wants to tell me and to also explain herself. And I think I might do just that. Also, if she does want money, I will cut her off again completely. I don't need a mother like her. I have a family who loves me and is supportive of me. Okay, well, the community is giving OP all kinds of heads up and things to ask and to do, but basically is, you don't meet your mom, you shouldn't do that. And OP also gave us a little bit more context as to the mom's character. So now, let's move on with the first of 2 updates. But before that, of course, it's that time where I show you another one of my playlists that only has videos with updates on them. Now let's move on with the update to this story. So much happened in the last 4 days, so I thought I should write an update. Here's what happened. So I talked to my aunt and uncle the day after the post and told them about her voicemail. They were so understanding about my emotional situation, and I told them that their opinion is the most important to me. I asked my aunt about my mom's friend, so she called her and invited her to dinner last night. She told us that my mom's husband and his sons kicked her out because she argued with her older daughter-in-law. At this point, I have to clarify that only her daughters and I are her biological children, and the other 2 are her stepsons. So what happened was that my mom and her oldest stepson's wife argued. Maybe they didn't get along, and let me tell you, here kids don't leave their home after 18. So the scenario must be like this. Either she has to leave or her daughter-in-law has to leave. Anyway, her husband filed for divorce and she will not get anything from him because he had her sign a prenup. Also, her daughter refused to help her and is living with her father. She's now all alone and is living in her parents' house. Her friend said she knows I'm engaged and perhaps wants to meet me because she is sorry for how she treated me. After listening to all this, I asked my aunt what she thinks, and she said she doesn't trust her and she was trash, but will understand if I want to meet her. My uncle said I should meet her without looking for any kind of relationship. So after giving it some thought, I decided to meet her. I messaged her telling her I'm ready to meet her, but my aunt is gonna be there and she must come alone. She said okay. And I messaged her today and told her that we will meet on Sunday in a restaurant. She said she will book a table. As many of you suggested, this restaurant is always crowded. So that's what happened in the last couple of days. I will write an update if anything happens. Thank you again. Okay, so now without wasting any time, let's just move on to the final update to see what happened after this meeting. Yesterday when we got to the restaurant, she was with another friend, and when she saw my aunt with me, she freaked out and started to cry loudly. She was saying that my aunt stole me from her and that she was the reason I didn't acknowledge her, that she used black magic to control me, and the list goes on. Everyone at the restaurant was looking at us like we are criminals, and some of them started to record videos. It was so embarrassing. I realized I will never get the closure I need from her, so we left in the car. My aunt was crying, saying she failed again to protect me. She knew it would happen like this, and that's why she didn't want me to meet her at all, but she did it for my sake. I told her I will not meet or talk to her ever again. I blocked her number and then I blocked her on everything else. And this morning, I'm getting a new number. So yes, that's what happened. I'm sorry I didn't listen to you when you guys told me not to meet her. Also, sorry for my English. It's not my native language. Well, that was short and to the point. OP met her, saw that he couldn't get anything out of her, and left, and now he's never gonna talk to her again. And of course, I'm gonna call this a positive update, because OP is okay. Hopefully, he'll get over needing closure from his mother in order to move on, but he's okay. So thank you so much for sharing, OP, and all the best in the future. Take care. And now let's move on to the next post that, like I said in the beginning, also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user Throwaway00292. Would I be the a-hole if I attended my best friend's wedding? I, female 24, have been best friends with Andrew, male 24, since kindergarten. It's always been me and him against the world. We've had other friends throughout our lives and been part of different circles, but we've always been each other's number one. Things got tricky when we joined the dating pool. Some of my boyfriends would oftentimes get jealous of the bond we shared. Obviously, to us, it was always purely platonic, but in our small town, a male and female friendship as close as ours was unconventional. Andrew started dating Jess in April of 2019, and they are due to get married in January. I am extremely happy for them, and I'm looking forward to having little babies to spoil. However, I recently found out through a mutual friend that Jess does not like me. Jess was telling my friend that she has always felt insecure about me and Andrew's friendship and thinks I have feelings for him. It was my first time hearing about this. She has always been nice and sweet when we've met up, so this came out of the blue for me. Our mutual friend advised me not to attend the wedding as to not ruin Jess's special day. I have been thinking about not going, but I was named Andrew's best man alongside his brother, and I don't want to bail on him or hurt his feelings by not attending. So, would I be the a-hole if I attended my best friend's wedding? OP, no, of course you would not be the a-hole. You would be the a-hole if you didn't go. Because it's not just Jess's special day like your friend said, it's also Andrew's special day, and he's your best friend and he wants you there with him. And I'm sorry, but if Jess doesn't want you to go to the wedding, then she should woman up and tell you herself in person. Not through some friend, and if this is just your friend giving you her input, then just disregard it because Andrew gave you a bigger input by making you a best man. You gotta go, OP. So yeah, in summary, not the a-hole if you go, you're the a-hole if you don't go, and Jess's insecurities about you is something that she needs to address with Andrew. And what do you guys think about this whole situation? What is your judgment? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Objective Golf 5137 says, not the a-hole. If you're invited, and the best man to boot, then clearly she's agreed to your attendance. Not going based on hearsay is ridiculous. But if you're being truthful here and you really are Andrew's number one, then he's definitely an a-hole that has no business getting married, and his fiancée is an idiot for going through with this while she has justifiable reservations about his relationship with you. It's you two against the world, to include her? You're his number one? Yeah, I would bet good money that either their marriage or your friendship is going to implode before it's all said and done. And OP responds, I understand what you're saying, but I mean it as even if we have other friends or are in different circles, we're still each other's best friends or number one friend. We've always been respectful of boundaries when we've been in relationships, and other than jealousy fits by two of my exes, we've never had a problem with our friendship that I know of until now. Needles says, not the a-hole. As I was reading your post, I was thinking to go if you get an invite. Now that I read you are Andrew's best man, you should absolutely go. The wedding likely isn't going to change your dynamic. I have somebody in my life similar to Andrew. She's absolutely wonderful and my life is so much better because she's in it. In no way am I competitive with her relationship. In many ways, I think I make it better. They are going to have to learn how to make decisions as a couple. You are one of them. If you are unsure, ask them both to dinner and talk about it. Left Car 6520 says, I would ask Andrew if he is aware of any upset from Jess on this, without necessarily mentioning that your friend has said that Jess had said this, because that could blow up a conflict between them that you probably don't want to set off if it can be avoided. And then you can talk to him about what to do about that, or he can talk to Jess. I think your friend is quite wrong to say you should skip the wedding because it would ruin Jess's day because she doesn't know that it would. And also because it implies that you have somehow done something wrong. And it also ignores that it would ruin Andrew's day if his best man declines to attend. Seems like your friend is stirring drama a bit. Jess is the one that needs to resolve this with Andrew. If you are invited, you should accept, but also speak to Andrew, not the a-hole. Okay, well the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole and OP gave us a little bit more context as to the relationship that she has with Andrew. So now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Thank you so much to everyone who replied and gave me some things to think about in my previous post. I'm very happy to inform everyone that this is a happy update and things thankfully didn't escalate. I reached out to Andrew and talked with him privately about what I had heard, and he was also as taken aback as I was, given that Jess had not mentioned anything to him either. I asked him to not mention it to Jess and instead chose to talk to her myself. We had lunch at my apartment and she did confide in me about some insecurities she had felt about my friendship with her fiancé. I was more than happy to reassure her that he was nothing more to me than a little brother. We also established more boundaries so she feels more secure. We also talked about what our mutual friend said, and Jess did talk to her about how she was feeling, but she never asked or even mentioned my participation in the wedding. I did offer to back out of the wedding party, but she insisted that it wasn't necessary and that both she and Andrew wanted me there. I did take some people's advice, and Jess and I will have a girls' night every Friday. It's important to me to be able to be even closer to her, and I want to be able to put any of her worries to rest. As for some criticism in my last post about me saying me and Andrew were each other's number one, I can assure you all that I meant it in we'll have other friends but we'll always be each other's number one friend. I know my place in Andrew's life and I am in no way trying to be or will ever be above his future wife. Well, in my opinion, it's definitely a happy update. No drama, no fighting, nothing like that. It was just adults setting down some boundaries and working through the problem together. So this is great, OP. Thank you so much for sharing your post with us and all the best in the future. And have fun at the wedding. Take care, OP. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out, so here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later, and also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.